Welcome to In the 661 Youth Voices for Kern, where we're discussing topics that hit on all different kind of cylinders for the community at large, but also particularly, obviously, for the youth of Kern County. And Veronica, you're one of the associate producers for this program.
Yes,
so you've been with the program for about a year, kind of doing some of the other print kind of efforts and doing kind of newspaper journalism. Why did you get involved with this?
Well, I started off just in my school journalist program, and I started working on the school newspaper at CSUB The Runner, and a lot of the topics I was covering involved immigration, and I just ended up getting connected to Raina, who is our executive producer for South Kern Soul, and she just sort of gave me an idea about what the program was about, and I really wanted to find other ways in journalism to branch out and give myself just a greater platform to put my writing into and to practice my abilities, so that's how I got involved in it.
How do you think journalism, being a journalism student, is evolving now? Because I've talked a little bit about how journalism used to be kind of this objective, just the facts type of thing, and now it seems to me, at least, especially on Facebook, you have people who consider themselves bloggers or journalists, but yet they're activists as well. Where do you see the line drawn?
Yeah, I'm very traditional in my journalist ways, that I do tend to try to be as objective as I can in my writing. I try to make sure I go all through the facts. And with South Kern Soul, there's a lot of activism into it, but there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to be a journalist writing for an activist website or an activist paper. So most of the stories that I try to do, I really try to just get as many voices as I can regarding whatever subject I'm writing about. So if it's immigration, I try to make sure I'm talking to the community and also the experts in whatever situation. If it's health, I try to branch out to as many different health organizations as I can, to find out what's going on and just try to put that all out there in an objective manner where, it's not my voice, it's something I'm passionate about, but these are the voices of what's happening. This is why it's important to everybody in the community.
Well, and you're trying to reach out to the youth who seem to be a lot more socially and politically active than in years past, although we've seen that kind of come wax and wane. But you're tackling some topics that I think to youth are complicated. Immigration, it's not an easy topic to tackle. Yeah,
and that's something I've really tried to do is I've tried to find a way to make these topics that people think are like adult topics and, big
healthcare.
Exactly,
Right.
Tax reform, immigration, and I've tried to show how they're going to affect the youth. One of the stories I did this past year was about the tax reform bill, which again, most youth probably weren't paying that too much attention to, but I localized it to, take you kids who are going into college or universities. The tax reform bill took a pretty big hit on students who are going to be taking out student loans. That's a way that it's going to affect youth that they probably didn't realize.
What do you think? I mean, because there's a constant banter online, especially in mainstream media, for that matter, about millennials and the short attention span of millennials. the Snapchat, 30-second video attention span of millennials, about them kind of not being deeply engaged in issues. What do you think about that?
I think there's some truth to it, and then at the same point, there's not. It's hard to say for everybody. I just know that for the people I'm involved with, for my personal beliefs, I try to use that social media platform to spread an idea. I mean, a 30-second video, there's a lot that you can say in a 30-second video and a lot of information that you can put out there. So I think it's amazing that we have those abilities. And my hope is just that, as youth start to learn more about these situations, they'll turn to those platforms and use them for a way to engage people and be well-informed.
Well, and when you're talking about well-informed, there's a huge discussion on the national level about fake news, about what does and does not constitute fake news.
Yeah.
How do you separate yourself, the real news from the fake news? How do you make In the 661 something that's legitimized and trusted, as opposed to something that's just out there that somebody else posts?
Like I said, it's all about the facts. Anything that you feel passionate about, anything that you want to be an activist for, there's always facts that you can bring forward. And it's about finding, the people who know those facts, finding, numbers, finding the paper trail for everything. I mean, you can, people can say something and you can say, oh, that's not true. That's fake news. But show them a written document of like, this is actually what's happening. These are the numbers that are being put out, towards, these are how many people are being deported. And this is, what's going on with this. This is what the tax reform bill says. You put that out there, there's no disputing it.
Well, Veronica, thank you so much for your work, and we'll keep watching your work here on In the 661.
Thank you.
Youth Voices for Current.